N9124 Humphrey Lane. I'm a 48-year resident, full-time resident of Lake Beulah. I am a past chairman of this board for many years. I left the board about 15 years ago. Prior to my leaving, I was involved with what has now become a parking area on Springer's Bridge across from Fred's Tab. The parking area was contested then from the standpoint that early one morning, by early I mean 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, I received a phone call from several concerned neighbors on New Deal Avenue and asked what was going on over there with the excavation equipment that was being used and why, what. I drove over with my wife and I met with John. And John had highway lights, I'll call them, set up to illuminate the area where he was digging, putting it on in a dump truck and hauling it away. And the discussion initially was, what are you doing, John? Well, I'm getting some fill for a friend. Okay. I said, do you have a permit? He says, I have a permit. I said, show it to me. It's supposed to be.
You want to see it? I got it in my bag.
Yeah, feel free to see.
I got the permit in my bag if you want to see it.
Sir, we timed that one more time.
Okay.
If you want to talk more, I think you have 30 seconds.
He told me he did not have the permit with him. I asked him to stop. I have no authority to make him stop. I asked him to do it. He did. In the morning, I called the zoning officer, Deborah Gruby, at Waller County. And I asked her specifically, do you have a permit for excavation on Springer's Bridge Road? And she said no. But she knew who had come in to ask her about a permit. She told me that no permit had been issued and that John knew, or I can't say what he knew or didn't know, but she told me that anything more than 4 cubic yards of excavation required a county permit. The excavation continued. We set up several meetings. Debbie Gruby came out, county sheriff came out, our police chief came out and said specifically, this is not a good area for a parking area, to cease and desist. He did. My estimate of excavation, probably 400 cubic yards, maybe more than that, were removed. To resolve it, John, who said at that point, I was going to build a residence on, I don't know what to call it. It was a falling down building that at some time in its life was a cottage. I can tell you, going back 48 years that I've lived here, it would never have been habitable. It was removed. I believe the building inspector said it was a nuisance and was removed. John could tell you, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it is, it's gone. We then came to a settlement with John that he was pleading not to make restoration because that's where this was going to go. He wanted it for his house. He needed to park some cars in. So he was told he could park a car, and he agreed.
Oh my God.
Okay, 4 minutes.
All right, I'll make the motion to grant 1 more minute for Robert Miller. Second.
He wanted to, can I?
Nobody second?
I'll finish.
Well, this is the site. All right, time's up. They don't want to give you more time. So the point is that also has cut out of
He's taking Bob Donna's title as liar.
Boy, that's a bunch of lies.
Oh my God.
But go ahead.
Here we go, John.
Just lies.
John Becker, W, 1958. Pastime Lane. I believe the planning commission's, position here was the correct one. You know, after all, it's taken a long time to, get to this position. They had 3 different sessions on the meeting, on the subject, and, they did a lot of research on it and came to the conclusion that it should remain C4. I certainly subscribe to that. In addition, they had legal counsel, also involved in it. The area is a sensitive area, we've heard that many times, but that's very important, because it's very shallow, and it must be preserved. I think the last thing you want in a area like that is a business. In fact, the requirements are no businesses in a sensitive area, and that's exactly what this would be. Marina would be a business. And it have to rezone to C2, but the minimum acreage on C2 is 5 acres. That's by county code. There are some exceptions, but they're very minor. As a background to the sensitive area, there have been 2 rulings lately. One was on, it's a little road, and it is associated with dredging there. The DNR wanted to dredge in a sensitive area. After an examination, after pushback from a number of people, including the management district, which I'm a member of, they decided to not dredge, but put in a standard pier instead. And because it was a sensitive area. Same thing happened with the flow of water from, proposed flow of water from Booth Lake, down the western area there, right by Fred's Camp. That was reversed, and they decided not to do that. Again, because of the sensitive areas. I think there's a, the property with John running it has almost a terrible history here. John misled the town and the county by saying he was not running a marina on the property, when indeed he was. I believe he is now. He does rent boats there. And this is counter to what he had told the town and the county. And this is certainly very much against what we're talking about here. In fact, it wasn't that long ago, I believe it was in 2012, the county came in and John was fined for running a marina on the property. About 2 years later, he appealed that decision, and that appeal was not granted, and he was fined. I believe the fine was about $600. And again, the town came in and assessed John a fine for having a lack of protection on the property. This is a silt fence. He did not have it in place.
Town doesn't do showings,
there. I believe that was town. He was fined about $300. So based on the decision made by the planning commission, based on the fact that this is sensitive property, based on the fact that the owner wasn't truthful about the operation of the situation, I believe that the town should adhere to the planning commission's decision and not grant the rezone. Say that for the down here.
All right, public comments? Joe?
N9033 East Gilmore Drive. I got 5 items. I'm going to try to slam through them because I only got 4 minutes and not even 15. Kim, I was going through the finances, and the first quarter seems to make sense, but I couldn't get past the revenue on the second quarter. So I'm not going to talk about it, but we're off by 570 on revenue. And in anything I've ever done, revenue goes up, it never goes down as the year progresses. So just please take a look and see what's going on. Second item. I can do it. I can even share this. I think I've spoken before on this whole thing with, whatever it is, Cottage Rod Industries, whatever, it just seems like there's people that are in the club, and there's people that aren't in the club, and it seems like if you're in the club, you get things approved, and if you're not in the club, you don't get them approved. If everybody is so interested in protecting the environment, they can just move all out of their houses and they can let it go back to nature. I mean, I understand where, you know, that we want to try to protect. I've also heard, and I did a letter of support, my wife did too, and he's got great standing in running boats. He's a good steward of the lake. He's picking up trash. He's educating people. Seems like someone we want to have doing this. We've lost Lindy's, we've lost Double D's. I just don't know why we want to limit this person from making a living. Special events. That's a strange document. At first it says it's only town of East Troy property, but then later it starts talking about the person's requirements to explain who they are and the property that's being used and all that stuff. Well, that's inconsistent, so I just think that document needs to be cleaned up, and I think that might be why you put it. The 150 limit for what is that? Large crowds or whatever. That's the second one, 5.1 or something. That seems semi-reasonable. You can have an easy family outing at your house for 30 to 60 or whatever people. That seems reasonable. 150 is a larger size, but then I'd like to know how that's going to be addressed for farmers who have plenty of land to deal with something like that. I know farmers get into, they hold, what, 1 minute? They hold educational things at farmers so they can get to be quite large. Not sure if that's going to be covered in that, but it probably should. The last thing I took while we were in the meeting is there was a comment made that the 6/5/24 meeting minutes from Planning Commission were approved by the board. I will debate that, because I just went through the only minutes that are on the town, which is June 10th, and they're not in that packet. And I went into the other packets, and I don't see 6/5 in any of them. So I don't think the 6/5 Planning Commission minutes were approved by this board. So just please look into that. It didn't make sense to me. That's all I have. 4 minutes.
10 seconds left.
Great, sure.
We can go.
Just to clarify, I was on the planning commission for the South property, and I just want everyone to hear from me as one of the commissioners. It was well studied. We unearthed every rock, every stone, and what it really boils down to is that C4, it is C4. That is the highest level of protection on this lake, and for a single property or owner to disrupt, in the end, what would be a disastrous presentation to the lake would just be completely unfounded. So when you hear that, you know, it was just a rough shot decision, it was a very thoughtful, very studied decision. C4 is C4, and it should never be changed. I view that area as, and you heard it's the inlet. Okay, in my mind, I envision a bottle of wine. The wide end of the bottle is the inlet coming in, and you have fast water coming in with, you name it, weeds, silt, you name it, fish, everything. If that gets cleared out on the west side, which is where John wants to put the marina, that is equivalent to uncorking a bottle of wine, and you have speed picking up, which means all of that silt and everything is going to spill deeper and deeper into the lake, causing a huge disruption. So it is a disaster waiting to happen. And C4 should always remain C4 as the highest protection on the lake. The other point I want to make, because I hear it over and over, is, he's just trying to make a living. Well, at the commission meeting, he can make a living. He has Fred's tap. All he has to do is follow the rules and regulations and open Fred's tap. So he can make a living.
Give us the parking.
Well, if he had legal parking,
Give us the
you
parking.
probably could have parking.
Give us the parking.
I'm talking.
Carlos.
So that was my other point, because we keep hearing over and over, the guy's just trying to make a living. He can make a living. Open Fred's tap, just follow the rules and regulations. Thank you.
I have 3 minutes left, don't I?
Yeah. I'd
Okay.
say about 3.
I just want to say that, you come up here and you accuse and call us liars, and that ticket had nothing to do with lying. So get your facts straight. I don't like me calling a liar. We did not get that ticket
Address the
for
board,
lying.
please, address the
We
board.
did not get that ticket for lying. Okay, so get the facts straight. And then I'd like to know also, what about the other 7 sensitive areas, okay? Third, we've been there 20 years and have 9 to 10 boats there. Where's your proof that there was damage in the last 20 years from our 9 to 10 boats there? Are you gonna stop the other 100 coming down for New Deal going through there?
Address to the board, please.
Well, okay, I'm just saying, are you gonna stop the other 100 boats coming down from New Deal Road, bringing all this settlement? And we have 9 boats sitting there for 20 years, and they have all this data. However, nothing's showing that in 20 years that our 9 boats damaged the lake. Thank you. So do we call a liar?
Linda Cerner, N8784 Strangebridge Road. I'm a neighbor of Fred's Tap. My biggest concern, I was a former guardian of the property before Stas purchased it. My biggest concern of it all is the traffic with the cars pulling out at the bottom of the hill, children crossing the street without a parent to go to the barn to go potty. I almost had 2 boys run into me, literally, from the gate. The parents were sitting on a pontoon boat. Now, I'm quite aware that the septic at the bar is bad. It would need a holding tank before they could open, that's a guarantee. But the safety of the road is the biggest issue here. The water safety, yes, is a big thing, but the road is such a hazard. Someone is seriously going to get hurt. And I was, of course, I cross the road all the time. It's scary. I slow way down. I might get a face in my car window. Sometimes they do burn. I'm going slow because I don't know what's going to come out. One day, John had a very large truck or something, another parked alongside the road, and the car was cooking over the hill. They almost crashed into me because I had to go over the center line to go around them. It is a very dangerous area with too much to be going on. Thank you.
Joe, could I use my other 30 seconds I have left?
Yeah, that's right, it's 30, right?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
You need my address again?
No.
I'm gonna address the board. I would like to thank all my haters that came out tonight to pontificate and to say things that weren't true. If you really want a true depiction of who I am, go on Google, look at the reviews that Total Strangers leave me, because there you're gonna get a true reflection of who I am. If you listen to the Haters Club, you're gonna think I stole Christmas. Thank you.
You did it in 20 seconds.
Not bad.
Book of Bacon those.
I guess I'm a hater. My name is Scott Cornell, 2415 New Deal Avenue. Nobody loves me down there except for my wife, and that's okay. This here is some information my friends that lived in Milwaukee that had to do with Scouts Alive, you know, the situation. We get a lot of bad stuff at night, move a lot of dirt out, had no permits, the same thing. Same thing.
I had permits.
They don't have 9 or 10 boats, so she just said that we lied, we don't lie, or I don't lie. Did not have a permit at the time, it was an after the fact permit. I had the same situation. I had the same situation just down on Newville Avenue. There's not 100 boats coming down. I go to do it on their call, there might be 100. And I got a solution. We can set up cameras. I'm willing to put up $500 of my money. I've got a few neighbors down there at New Deal, Springs Bridge, was it Bayview Road. I can work with maybe the girls' camp. We can set up some cameras down there because we're being monitored down. And that way we can find out when the barge hit the bridge, what it did when it got loose. My wife and I talked to you, Mr. Strauss, and you never said it was gonna happen.
Don't talk to me. Talk to the board.
You have 100,000 year storm, and that barge could come loose and hit that bridge gap. You and I looked eye to eye when that happened. Yes, you did. You said, never happened again. My wife was in the boat. You couldn't get through the barge. I'm sorry. I get carried away when he does it too. So I put $500 of cameras. I got a few neighbors that are gonna back me up with this. We can monitor the road. We can also do it in here when you did Milwaukee, the Department of Bridge Transportation Standards, and find out what's going on. They'll be able to find a good, safe bridge. We've got a lot of salt coming down, and we can do some situations to solve that area too. That's all I got. Thank you.
When did the barge? Never did. Don't say anything too much.
Okay, great. My name is Bill Wooker, W-U-C-H-E-R-E-R. I live at West 1210 Wolf Way, been a town resident for 29 years. And I request that the town board sustain the planning commission's recommendation to deny the zoning application on tonight's agenda number 8K2. I attended all 3 planning commission meetings, which resulted in this recommendation to deny Mr. Stouts' request. I was impressed by how well the meetings were run, with discussion, the presentations, the question and answers. More than 3 hours elapsed during these meetings, which resulted in a 6-to-1 vote to deny the applicant's zoning question notice. All commissioners except Supervisor Johnner voted to preserve and conserve the E4 property. Frankly, I found Supervisor Johnner's vote troubling. And I'm suggesting that Supervisor Johnner, I am not suggesting that Supervisor Johnner had any financial conflict of interest on this agenda item. I do, however, believe that Supervisor Johnner should have recused himself from voting at the July 17th Planning Commission meeting, as he should also recuse himself of any vote this evening. If Supervisor Johnner does not recuse himself, I believe that he should minimally disclose the campaign contributions from Mr. Strauss that he received during his spring supervisor election. Supervisor Johnner campaigned on transparency and open government, but he has failed to disclose contributions or to amend Wisconsin finance campaign documents as required by state law. To improve transparency, to promote honesty, I have submitted the Wisconsin Ethics Committee against Mr. Joseph Johnner, wherein I asked the Wisconsin Ethics Commission to investigate campaign contributions received from Mr. Strauss, which Mr. Johnner did not record and did not report as required by law. Until the Wisconsin Ethics Commission can complete its review of my complaint and render a decision about the allegations, I request that Mr. Johnner recuse himself from voting on any agenda item related to rezoning this property in question and the application of Mr. Strauss, which currently rests before this governing board. Thank you.
Just put information on that, so if there's wondering about recusals, the only person that can recuse himself is the person himself. The board can't vote for it. Nobody can ask or require it. That's his decision. All right, next.
Veronica Long, 9634 Stringer Creek Road. Well, as far as going back many years when that dirt was removed from Fred's house down there, that dirt went up 8590 Stringer Creek Road, next to my property. everything that's happening down here since, the town, the county told it that it went rezoned years ago, has been going on. Boats been rented, stuff been brought down the road, commercial stuff stored there, commercial boats used out there, people going across the property, C4, which you're not supposed to go onto the boats, renting them, etc. What I've done is I've got a few pictures of stuff. I only made one copy of the stuff going down the road, or those pontoon boats were launched down there at Red's Gap on the east side of the road. Cars are parked there every weekend on the east side of the road, which is no parking as far as county is concerned. County doesn't enforce anything. It's a hazard, all these big machinery parking down there, or going up and down the road with machinery on it, coming up the hill by me, if you got two bicycles in the southbound lane, and somebody's trying to pass them, and you run into the pontoon boat or a forklift, who's responsible? I mean, it's a bad case scenario. And the same thing with the stuff down there. All the boats that are stored there, when they're not stored there, they're up at 85-90. Stringer Bridge Road, where maintenance is done on them. They're stored there, prepared for winter, prepared for summer. There are 4 or 5 pontoon boats there now. Right now, one is being repaired. Right in the driveway. I mean, you have everything that's there, and the attitude of the owners. There's a real attitude there for anything. You talk about good, how everybody likes them. I mean, you could take a look at what we go through, and if one wants to hear some of the comments, I can bring them in. I don't have them with me, it takes time, but whatever. I don't want this rezone. I don't think it should be. They're doing it now, and county does nothing to find them or stop them. And the town doesn't either as far as stopping anything going up and down the road or launching the pontoon boats on the property. So I don't think a rezone should be allowed, and I think somebody should do something about enforcing our laws. County, whatever. Thank you.
Anyone else? You exhausted?
I got 10 seconds left, Joe.
What's that?
I got 10 seconds left, but I want to refrain.
All right. We have all sorts of letters that were in the packet. There was another one that was delivered just, and it's in the packet, or it's in the handout here with the board members. I'm gonna read it into the record. It says, I do not understand how this request for a conditional use permit is coming before the town board. The property does not have the required amount of frontage and is located in a C4 area. These are facts that can't be twisted around to make something fit. As far as I know, this request was denied by the judge years ago, so how can it now come up again for the city review? The health of this natural resource is something that the town and county take seriously. Damage to the ecosystem of the lake cannot be done. Once it is ruined, and then no one will enjoy it, and it will not be there for generations to come. It will become murky, the fish will suffer, the tax base will reflect this, and it will become not at all like the lake we are currently trusted to care for. This is no small consequence. When you change delicate areas of the lake, there is a ripple effect that will change the entirety of the lake and the community. You have heard all the expert testimony as to the harm that would be done by this type of project. To ignore that information and to push through someone's personal agenda is an affront to the office that each board member holds. Each of you is entrusted with a natural resource that just isn't found everywhere. And to make good decisions that would keep that resource in its present state of good health. It is time that the board take responsibility for the welfare and health of the lake above personal interest. So that's right in the record when we are all our letters. So, okay.
Is that a requirement that
person withheld their name from being in the record, because you know who it is, and that person fears retribution, and I respect the decision they signed, but do not want to be publicized on this. But, you're right. No more public comments, I believe we're done. Okay, moving on. Chairperson's report. It's in the packet, if you want to highlight this. Number 8. All right, sorry for the, I had these town residents like I normally do, town development issues. I did attend the, Waller County, special meeting on the radio towers communication system, countywide emergency, communication system, and the chief will, update us on that. Troy Executive Committee meeting was on 16th of July. There's one discussion on where we are with the, trail planning grant, and, no meetings yet with the DOT. We did, have a presentation by Willers, we did a financial analysis of the possibility of, at least the financial part of it, the possibility of Town of Troy merging with AESD. And then other community challenges, and this community does have some challenges, anything from fluency to, amenities for the aging, just a wealth of, issues that we kick around to see if we can do something as a combined board. Also on, August 2nd and 3rd, I attended the Town Association Council meeting, annual meeting in Stevens Point. All county unit chairs provided input to the board of directors for their strategic planning process.